Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 26th of September for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you the standout features to look out for, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in much greater detail each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces. So as we go into this new week, so the power of the new moon in the sign of Libra and its opposition to Jupiter, which ended last week, is pouring, cascading its energy into this week too, because the Sun and Jupiter are in opposition for much of the week. Now this is a very nice state of affairs. What's not to like? Well, it's simply that Mercury in its retrograde is in a direct opposition with Neptune. And that particular link, even though Mercury is in one of its two home zones of Virgo, really can create quite a lot of confusion. And even where we're trying to be very diplomatic, reaching into the other person's viewpoint, we're trying to be good listeners, be a little bit more detached in terms of understanding that maybe people see things in a different way, it can all turn to mush with that particular and complex opposition. In fact, we could encounter someone who could actually tell us something that's absolutely a bare-faced lie. So really important to temper the enthusiasm and optimism of Jupiter being opposite the Sun with a real dash of realism. And fortunately, Mars, which is in the part of the zodiac which is very much to do with everyday communications, that's in a very stable link to Saturn in the sector of the community. So that gives us one opportunity to be a bit clearer. And then on Thursday, Venus moves into the sign of Libra. So joins up with the Sun. This is the sign that Venus governs along with Taurus, and it's going to be in opposition with Jupiter too. So I think we just got to try and see the best in each other, to be honest. There's also a very positive link between Mars and Pluto, which can help to cut through some of the confusion and the distortion that Mercury's opposition with Neptune can create. But I think if we can just realise that even if we're quite different in some ways, we do all have some commonalities. And if we can focus on the things that we can celebrate as having in common and not so much focused on the things that make us stand apart, then by the end of this week, there can be a real opportunity for an improvement in all sorts of interactions. The quarter moon, which does occur at the end of the week, is in the sign of Capricorn. So maybe when it comes to those professional relationships, there may be someone who wants us to conform with the expectations of the big business or the organisation or the educational facility we're at. And that's tough. We all have to, at some level, let our individuality go and understand that there are certain conventions that we have to fit in with. But that could be a little bit of a sticking point at the end of this week. But the real way to make progress this week is to try to have a sense of clarity, but also a realistic sense of expectation. But then embrace that Jupiter bubbly energy too. Now, please stay with me for your individual forecast. If you would like to ascend above this zodiac broadcast, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can give you your year 2023 forecast, the rest of year 2022 free if you order before the turn of the year, and also your life map, your character analysis that can guide you for the rest of your days by giving you searing insights, some of those patterns that can be repeated, and help you to understand them much more. And with my special package, there's 30% off. Please see the link beneath this video. And finally, if you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you've already done so, thank you so much for your ongoing support. So Cancer, as you come into this new week, so the sun has moved into the part of your situation which is actually very much in keeping with the qualities of your sign: nurture, protectiveness, security, being conscious of the environment that you're in. And because Jupiter is on the other side of the heavens in your 10th house, that's very much concerned with your connection with the wider world. So in terms of some of your deeper needs, perhaps around property, this could actually turn out to be quite a lucky period, particularly with Venus moving into your 4th house on Thursday. If you do need to talk to some contractors about helping you make some changes, or you want to get some advice, get some information or ideas decoratively, this can be a really positive week. But Mars is in that 12th house, is in that trine with Saturn. That's great if you're thinking about deeper things, perhaps about more psychological strands from your past. If you are working on trying to understand some of your past history and patterns, then I think Saturn can be very supportive to Mars this week. And I think Venus coming into your 4th house can see you share things, and someone can be very kindly and nurturing. But Mercury is in a retrograde in your 3rd house, and that is in an opposition with Neptune in your 9th. If you're thinking about travel, I think you'll really be tripping the light fantastic. You'll be really daydreaming about all the exotic places you could visit, and that can be something that gives you a sense of escapism, even though you're generally likely to be thinking about where you live and how. However, Mercury opposite Neptune, if you're travelling, especially as they're both in retrograde, could be a really tricky. So just be aware that Mercury can govern things like tickets, bookings, slots, reservations. Mercury retrograde obviously has a tendency to show up problems in the area that it's influencing. But I think Neptune is the real mischief maker in the mix, to be honest, because Neptune's giving you that desire to widen your horizons. Mercury's more about the mechanics of how you go about achieving that. But really, your chart is really asking you to think much more about your deeper emotional needs, what's really important to you around family, the closest connections you have. And this can be a time of great growth and loveliness. So if you do want to, do some decorating or buy some new home furnishings or make some refinements, a lovely time to do so. But I think any kind of travel plans or bookings could be prone to some problems. Having said that, Mercury, despite its retrograde, does forge a very constructive link to Pluto in your sector of relating. So if you are talking to someone about different issues in your situation, the support they give you can actually be very helpful. So Mercury retrograde can be to reset, remold, recalibrate, as much as cause problems when things don't quite work properly or fail. Especially the 3rd house could be some tech that's not reliable, or domestic appliance that you've relied upon for ages. And also, if you are talking to anyone about a more philosophical matter this week, it may be difficult to articulate your viewpoint in a way which really cuts through.